Hey everybody, we are on reflection 32 in the Diary of St. Faustina, and in this video we are going through journal entries 1371 to 1426. And as I've been reading this, I have just been loving St. Faustina and her heart so much. She just shares such wisdom and sweet moments of her life, and it's gotten me excited because for the first time I really feel like I can relate so well to a saint, and that I get her, and we're friends, you know? So now I am eager to read more on the lives of a variety of different saints, a little bit more than just a sentence or two. So it's pretty awesome, and I love seeing how the things that she experiences are things that many of us experience today, and this is years and years and years later. So I'm going to hone in on journal entry 1423. Another sister, her name was Sister Damian, she told St. Faustina that she wanted to choose a certain priest to be her confessor. And she was very excited about it and asked St. Faustina to pray for her with it. St. Faustina prayed. She's a little bit of an exception because she has these very interior types of visions and dialogues with God that many of us don't have. But hang on a second. So anyway, in prayer, St. Faustina realized that that was not a very good setup and that the sister would gain no spiritual profit from this direction. And so then they got together again, and Sister Damian said that she was really excited because now he was her spiritual director. So St. Faustina says, I joined in her joy, but when she had left, I was severely rebuked. Jesus told me to tell her what he had given me to know during prayer, which I did at the first opportunity, although it cost me a great deal. Even though I have some really awesome Catholic people in my life, I don't think any of them would have the same type of dialogue with me, but I have very similar things occur, and maybe you have too. So as an example, I've experienced this same exact situation in my own life many times regarding marriage and things of that nature. So, cohabitation before marriage, physical intimacy before marriage, whether you should get married at a church or on the beach if you're Catholic, stuff like that. And it is very hard when you have a friend or family member that you love and care about very much who grew up with your same upbringing. They claim to have the same exact faith that you do, but then when it comes to a few of these issues, they throw it all out the window and pick and choose because that's what everybody else is doing in the secular world. That becomes acceptable to them. And it's very hard to know how to handle it because, and I've said this before, right now, for whatever reason, we're at this time where people are extremely sensitive. Everybody is. Maybe it's always been like that, but I feel like now, maybe because of social media, I don't know. I don't really know what it is, but it's a lot more heightened. Nobody wants to feel judged. Everybody wants to feel accepted and loved. That's something I strongly believe in. You want to love people and reach them where they're at, but at the same time, it's irresponsible to accept sinfulness because that's a path that leads to destruction. And if you're going to okay a path that leads to destruction, are you really loving that person? And so it's a very fine line to where you deal with this whole concept of love and tolerance and acceptance and the whole thing. And I've found that there are occasions where you just have to let it go and pray. But there are other situations where I think we do need to step up and gain the courage to say something. Why? Because we may be the only person who does. We may be the only friend who says something. Conversely, because we're the only person speaking the truth and everybody else is sharing this lie, like, oh yeah, you can save a bunch of money on rent if you guys live together. Oh, you know what? If you live as brother and sister in Christ, that's okay. The big thing is sex before marriage, not living together. That's old school. People are hearing these lies and it's getting distorted and twisted. And so when the one person comes and speaks the hard truth that nobody really wants to hear, more often than not, it doesn't go over well. There are occasions where we have to honor God and share the truth and speak that to the people we love, even if we have to bear a cross for it, even if we know they're going to be mad at us. The way that I've seemed to feel like I'm finding the best balance of handling things is to speak with love to people like that, make my intentions and my beliefs known and clear, but then love them and tell them, I'm here, I love you, but I have to tell you, this isn't the best way to live if you're trying to be Catholic. And giving them the why, but not forcing it down them because they may not want to hear why, but letting them know, you know what? I would not be a good friend if I just did what everybody else in your life is doing and said, oh, yeah, cool, well, do whatever you want. Do whatever feels good. Do what makes you happy. Instead of saying, no, do what is going to be good for your soul. Do what's going to get you to heaven, because this life is so fleeting and temporary. Even that time before marriage, it's like so tiny. Like, it's such a small amount of time. And people are just in such this impatient rush. Anyway, to hear St. Faustina going through a very similar thing and at the end saying she did speak the truth to her friend, although it cost her a great deal, she knew that it was the right thing to do. Sometimes we have to do what is best for our relationship with Christ and for that person, even though it's painful. They may not like it. It may cause some tension. There are some times we have to sit back and pray, and there are other times where we may be the only person because not a lot of people are sharing that because they're too afraid. And that's just part of picking up our cross and following Jesus and not following our own selfish desire of keeping the peace, not following the crowd of what they're doing when we know in our heart and we know in our minds and we know by statistics is a path to destruction. And so sometimes it's hard, but we have to educate ourselves so we can share and be of service to others. Oftentimes it is not easy. So those are my thoughts for today. And if you have any stories or examples that you want to share of a time where you had to speak the truth to somebody, or maybe somebody spoke the truth to you, I'd really be eager to hearing, did somebody share something with you that was kind of hard, but then you realized, you know what, they were right, and you humbly realized that. I would love to hear a story like that if you have one. If not, if you have another cool story, something positive you want to share, I would love to hear that too. So thank you for watching this video. Subscribe if you are not a subscriber, and I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.